Did you know ancient Greece was the birthplace of Western philosophy, the cradle of democracy, the home of the Olympic Games, and also, believe it or not, the inventor of the school system? That's right. The Greeks developed the world's first system of education, which we can still see in schools today. But there was one big problem. See, the Greeks believed that education should be as harsh and uncomfortable as possible. And no, I'm not talking about doing extra credit problems on a Friday afternoon. I mean something much, much worse. Welcome to the Agoge, the Spartan school system. The Agoge was not a school of letters or music, though these things were taught sparingly. It was above all a school of endurance. From the moment a boy entered, he belonged less to his family and more to the collective. He slept in dormitories with others his age, lying not on soft bedding, but on reeds he had cut himself from the riverbank. In winter, the cold seeped into the cracks of the walls. In summer, heat pressed heavily upon the room. At dawn, before the sun had chased away the chill, the boys were up and at their chores. They swept the agora, the marketplace, or they worked in the fields, planting crops or tending the sheep. All the while, their teachers, the pedagogos, watched over them, looking for any sign of weakness. When a boy reached the age of 12, he was considered a man in training. His life became more regimented, his work more arduous. He was whipped into shape like a piece of iron being hammered by a blacksmith. Boys were pitted against one another, not just to foster competition, but to teach them the value of obedience and discipline. The strongest and most cunning would rise to the top and become leaders of their age group, the so-called elites. In their early teens, the Spartans would take their education to the next level. They would sneak out of the barracks at night and commit small acts of mischief, like stealing food or even livestock. If they were caught, they were punished severely. If they succeeded, they were rewarded with praise and gifts. This was the Agoge's way of teaching practical skills and instilling a sense of adventure and daring. But it wasn't all about the physical. The Agoge also taught boys how to be good and obedient Spartan citizens. They learned about their history, their customs, their religion. They were drilled on how to fight in the phalanx, the famous Greek formation that had taken so many enemies by storm. They were taught to be strong, both in body and in mind, ready to face any challenge, any hardship, any enemy that threatened their homeland. And that's why it's called the Agoge, because it was here, in this crucible of pain and sacrifice, that young Spartan boys became men, ready to take their place in society and continue the Spartan way of life. If you want to learn more about ancient Greece, stay tuned for more information.